Smell us now, lady.
Welcome to MeatEater Trivia.
MeatEater Podcast.
Welcome to MeatEater Radio Live. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Time. That's 10 a.m. for our friends in Depot Bay, Oregon on Thursday, March 13th. And we're live from MeatEater HQ in Bozeman, Montana. I'm your host, Spencer Neuharth, joined today by Cory Calkins and Randall Williams. On today's show, we'll talk to Aaron McElraith about how an Alberta city hazes geese. Then we'll do 1 minute fishing with American hero Pat Durkin. After that, we'll play The Price is Right. And finally, we'll talk to Joel Kolander about some rare guns from the Rock Island auction. Randall, I was jealous last week that you came up with a new bit of shouting out a time zone. What'd you do last week? Hungary?
Hungary, our friend Mogor.
Mm-hmm. So I was inspired by that. Plus, my favorite radio station growing up as a kid, Kickin' Country, would have the South Dakota Town of the Day. So now I want to shout out little towns or places that I really like. And, just give them a little nod. Today, Depot Bay, Oregon. I've been there twice. It's the whale-watching capital of Oregon. And the one time I saw some whales right from their dang main street. Real fun.
Fascinating.
Phil, do you ever, you're like from that part of the world?
Yeah, no, my family used to go to Depot Bay every summer. And we would stay at the Surf Rider Inn just north of Depot Bay. The most violently ill I've ever been was on a whale watching tour that went out of Depot Bay.
Ooh.
Also, fun fact, not to kill a mockingbird. What's the
My Side of the Mountain?
No, the mental institution.
Oh, One Flew
One
Over
Flew Over
the
the
Cuckoo's
Cuckoo's
Nest.
Nest. Yeah, I'm getting my birds mixed up.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about coming of age stories.
When they go out on a boat on the ocean, that was shot in Depot Bay.
Oh,
really? Yeah.
World's smallest navigable harbor, I think
so.
coined themselves out.
Yeah.
It is
Shout
tiny.
out Depot Bay. Love your little town you got there. Cory, Randall, what you boys been up to lately?
Oh man, not much.
Well, I don't want to insert myself here, but it's been a good week for Randall.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, now we can acknowledge publicly
There's an elephant in the room
the
here.
2024 MeatEater Trivia Champion.
And I see the support in the chat. I love it. We'll be working on that Randomal shirt. It might be like a 2028-29 project.
Dylan's asking for some clarification. Is it Randamals with an I or Randamals with an A? And I've got a second point of clarification. Is it Randalmals? That's kind of a mouthful, but to me it makes more sense.
I'd envisioned Randamals with an I. Like
I like that too.
Randanimals. It should have been the Randanimals.
Okay, next time you win. Cory, what you been up to lately besides, Pat and Randall on the back over here for winning the
Well,
title?
yeah, congrats, buddy. Well deserved. We just wrapped up a couple of days with Taylor and Will from Bussin' with the Boys.
Okay.
You guys have ever heard of them?
Yeah, I've seen those tall fellers.
Yeah,
walking around
they are
the
tall.
office.
Will's not that tall, is he?
I mean,
taller
compared
than me.
to the regular folks in the MeatEater office, yeah. I'd say
Okay.
he's
Yeah,
tall.
I guess it's just that he hangs out
How
with
tall are
Taylor
you,
all the time.
Randall?
I call myself 6'2", but posture-wise, probably 5'11".
Okay.
Hunched.
But when you say you're 250 pounds, 5'11", it gives off a very different impression. So I go with 6'2".
Yeah, so you showing those boys around Montana while they're here?
Well, a little bit. We had them out at the gun range getting prepped and ready for a coyote hunt. They went out with Steve. Was that yesterday morning?
Okay.
It was quite a whirlwind while they were here. Oh, here's some good shots of them. They went coyote hunting and beaver trapping with Steve yesterday. Very successful on the beavers. They killed a pile of muskrats as well while they were out there.
I can smell it in the office still.
Yes.
As soon as I walked in.
I tried spraying the poopery scent helper in here. It didn't really do it. But yeah, there's a good photo of Cal there showing him the works on some SIG rifles. There's Steve fleshing a beaver, looks like. But yeah, showed those guys a great time. They got to get their hands dirty. Didn't kill any coyotes. I heard shots were fired, but no dogs were harmed in the making of this fun time we had. But Steve will be on their podcast next week, so listen for that. And then there'll be some fun video content following that. Not sure when, but in the near future. So keep an eye out for that.
If you want more content with Steve and MeatEater, the Bussin' channel is going to have that soon.
Yep.
All right, let's go to our first interview. Joining us on the line now are two employees from the city of Lethbridge, Alberta, who have a unique way of keeping geese off their lakes. Aaron and Nelson, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
First thing, tell us where you're standing right now.
Okay, we are at the beautiful Henderson Lake. It's one of our premier parks in Lethbridge. It's one of my favorites because I've had the opportunity to work here for many years. It has walking paths throughout the whole park and this beautiful body of water. Historically, there's been a dance hall, and basically it's a hub of activity winter and summer in Lethbridge.
All right, now tell us about the goose problem that your city parks have.
Okay, so we have some resident geese that have decided they love living in Lethbridge and they don't want to fly south like the rest of their friends do. So the goose problems are basically we want to make sure that we keep our waterfowl safe, and so we'd like them to keep moving on. We want to keep people safe who use the parks. There can be human goose conflict as well as with people's pets, so we don't want that to happen. We also want to make sure that we reduce the fecal matter in the park. So one goose can poop up to 2 pounds in a day. That's a lot of poop. And
My goodness.
we have kids in the park and lots of activities. So we want to try to keep our pathways clean and free of that poo. And then just making sure that we protect our assets and our turf. So that when geese feed, they can pull the roots of the grass out, and that can cause long-term damage with our turf. So yeah, it's a multifaceted issue.
And in the past, what did you guys try to keep these geese off your lakes and parks?
Well, at one point in time, we had employees go out with a dog. They went out to try to deter the geese from being in the park, but then it would just make the geese go onto the lake, and we couldn't do anything about that. We've done some egg management with a damage danger permit, which is a federal permit. And we really, we've communicated a lot with the federal government under the goose management plan and just trying to make really good decisions about how to manage the population. But it's really tough because basically they have a really perfect environment to live here. It's safe. There's really no predators here, and there's water, there's an island, so it's really tough to manage the geese here.
And that brings us to why we're talking to you today. Tell us about how you decided to try to solve that problem this year.
Well, I've wanted the Goosinator for a really long time. I kind of was researching best management practices, and this came up as a hazing device. So just trying to make the area less popular for the geese. And when I saw this working, I was just amazed by the fact that it could work on the grass,
Wow.
on ice, as well as in the water. So when we got the go-ahead to purchase it, we decided that we should get Nelson, who's now in charge of the goose management program, to get good at operating it. I kind of missed my chance to be the operator by a year or two.
Yeah, so we are looking at photos right now of what is called the Goosinator. It is a large, bright orange styrofoam, like an RC car looking thing with a couple of tracks underneath it, and it's got big eyes and big mean teeth on it.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
That's what they're telling us about is the Goosinator. How much did the Goosinator cost?
It was around $4,000.
Okay, $4,000. All right, I want to talk to Nelson for a bit. Nelson is the one who operates the Goosinator. Nelson, what's it like to drive that thing?
It's fairly easy. I got the remote right here. It's just like any normal trigger-operated remote control. It slides a lot better on the ice in the water than it is on land. It actually has some wheels that you can attach to it while you're using it on land, but primarily we've been using it on the water and the ice.
Okay, and what's your strategy for scaring away the geese with the Goosinator? Do you drive it right into the flock?
No, actually that's part of learning how to use it, and especially a lot of communication from the manufacturer and the designer about how to use it properly. It's meant to look like a predator, so you're supposed to operate it like stalking the geese, really slow movements, and you're basically trying to herd them out. The more that fly away at once, the better of them not coming back.
And how did the geese...
Repetitive usage of it is key too. So using it all the time to the point where they recognize the truck and it coming out of the truck, they start getting a little frantic when I show up.
Okay, so the reaction the geese have, they just want to leave when they see that thing.
Yes, it's meant to look like a predator and act as a predator. It's meant to make them feel like the area is unsafe.
And how do people react to seeing you use the Goosinator? Like, have the cops been called on you yet?
No, at first, I think we did a good job with preparing the public of its use, especially with, like Aaron said, communication with the federal government. It's in our goose management program. Even before we had bought it, we had started talking about using one, and just being prepared for the feedback that we were going to get on it really helped out. And while I've been using it, there's a lot of people that come here to look at the birds and stuff like that. So they're quite knowledgeable about why we're using it, and just being able to talk to them about it has helped out immensely. And for the most part, the feedback's been pretty good, like very positive, a lot more than I anticipated actually. But yeah, we haven't really had any complaints from local cops. The federal permitting officer did get some emails and calls, but he already knew about us using it because we've gone through the proper leaps and bounds.
Okay. Big question then. Can we see the Goosinator in action?
Yeah, you can. I got it right behind me on the truck here. I'll plug the battery in. And obviously, there's no ice here anymore, but there is an island behind me that they tend to nest at. So I'll just cruise by the island, and that's what we'll be using it for in the spring until they actually start nesting with eggs and molting and stuff like that. Then we can't use it. We'll pull the usage of it. But
Okay.
we'll be using it to try and keep them from nesting on this island.
Perfect. Let's see that thing in action. Now, Nelson has kept it hidden in the back of his truck because he said usually, like seeing his pickup is enough, but seeing the Goosinator especially will get the geese to start to lift off. He is grabbing the giant RC boat. Wow. That thing is quite enormous, and he is now taking it to the water. We could hear the geese the entire interview. So I'm optimistic that Nelson's going to put on a show for us here.
Yeah, look at that thing. That's straight up nightmare fuel if you were a goose.
Yes.
It's running. It's got a prop on the front.
Yeah.
Understandably, you wouldn't. Oh, wow.
Okay, here he goes. And the geese are leaving.
Look at the ones in the background flying.
Yeah, so you can see this happening on our YouTube channel. Wow. The geese have taken off at this point. Nelson's only got the Goosinator about 20 yards from shore. Smooth operator we've got here.
That's unbelievable.
Need some Jaws theme music going.
There they go.
There you go. A couple from the island itself.
Lifting off. The cool thing about the Goosinator is it can drive on ice, land, and water. This thing is like even more amphibious than amphibian vehicles because it can also go on the ice.
Mm-hmm. It's got a couple stragglers there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I love this.
A couple stubborn geese.
And the person who makes the Goosinator, that it looks like now a lot of cities and golf courses use, they wanted this thing to look very offensive, so they might have made it bright orange. Cameraman, can we punch in on the Goosinator a little bit? Is that an option for us? We'd love to see these geese get
I don't know.
up.
I'm going to speak for him. I don't know if you can pinch zoom on the StreamYard app here.
Okay.
But, if not,
correct.
that's okay.
All right.
It's still thrilling even at this distance.
Yeah, you can see it.
That you can see that Goosinator from a long ways away. It's
Whoa.
picking up speed.
Yeah. Oh, it's got some zip to it.
Wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Here it comes. This is the goose's perspective here as it circles in.
Nelson, tell us a little more about what the geese are doing right now. We can't quite see too far off in the distance as to what's happening.
So basically everything on this side of it, all the geese have left the island. Like even the sound of the Goosinator, like we hear a different pitch than the geese actually do. And the sound of the Goosinator itself is actually very terrifying to them. See different colors. They actually see more colors than us too. And the whole design of it is meant for characteristics that geese dislike. On the website, it quotes Cornell University did this study of characteristics and traits that geese dislike, and that's basically what he based his design off of. The big teeth, the eyes, the slick cut ears, the color orange, and the reflective color itself. Well, these are all things that the geese don't like to see to begin with.
Yeah, that's enough to scare me off too. Can we see that thing at top speed, Nelson? Can you ramp it up for us?
Give her a rip.
Yeah, I'll go out and then I'll bring it back. And
Okay.
Like the whole, we're not. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness.
It's rooster tailing.
Very impressive.
Oh yeah.
Wow. What a beast. Geese,
that's
you are
great.
not welcome in the city of Lethbridge. All right, that was a real treat, Aaron and Nelson. Thanks for joining us, and good luck. Good luck with the goose hazing program. We're cheering for you guys.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Fun little fact about Randall,
Okay.
which makes me a real advocate for their cause. When I was too young to even remember this incident, I was I believe at the National Zoo in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I've been told, and a Canadian goose bit me on the foot and broke
really?
my toe.
Whoa.
Broke your toe?
Yeah.
You think the goose broke your toe,
Yeah.
or like did you
Little baby toes, Spencer.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, they're tiny. That's what I'm told.
Okay. By who?
My parents. It maybe explains some of my idiosyncrasies around birds. If I get into the dark recesses of my mind.
They needed a Goosinator.
I know.
back in those days.
So I appreciate they're trying to avoid goose public conflict.
All right. Moving on. Our next segment is 1 minute fishing.
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk? Go ahead. Make my cast.
1 minute fishing is where we go live to someone who's fishing and they have 1 minute to catch a fish. And if they're successful, we'll make a $500 donation to a conservation group. This week, our angler is American legend and 1 minute fishing legend Pat Durkin in Wisconsin, and he's fishing for a donation to the Clearwater chapter of Trout Unlimited. Pat, welcome to the show.
Hey, Spencer. Thanks for having me on.
Pat was very motivated to make this work for us today. He was scouting some fishing spots earlier this week, and if the weather had been a little colder, he'd be standing on ice right now. But instead, it's warmed up, and he's sitting in a boat.
Yeah.
Geese.
Yeah.
Pat, tell us about the boat that you're in, Pat.
This is my it's a 14-foot, 3-inch cedar strip rowboat I built. I lost it 19 years ago in June. It took me about 2.5 years to build, and it's been my pride and joy ever since. And as I've written about in my newspaper column, Spencer, I always advise young men, if they want to meet women, this is what they need.
Is a boat?
A rowboat.
A cedar strip rowboat, not just any boat. You got to have a cedar stripper, because I pulled this boat into a gas station, into a fast food restaurant, whatever it is, and women always walk over and talk to me. It's just really a chick magnet.
Okay. What about men? Do they show interest in the boat as well? Say you're female seeking male companionship.
Right.
Would it do the same thing?
That's a great question. The distinction I've noticed is that it primarily attracts old guys.
Yeah.
So my wife likes it because when I leave her at the pier to hold on to the boat while I go get the truck, all the old guys come over and it gives them the pretense of talking to her. But it's not. It's really I built it for muskie road trolling, and then I found that I'm not really much of a muskie fisherman because it's the guilt trip you if you eat one. So I pretty much turned into a pan fishing machine.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Cool.
Now, this is the maiden voyage of your boat in 2025, correct?
Correct. Yeah. It's first time on the water this year.
Okay, and how's the fishing been today so far?
It's been pretty lousy. I'm blaming Mother Nature because, like you said in the intro, I wanted to be up on Lake Altoona, which is north of me a little ways, where the perch were biting just on Sunday for me. And I was all gassed up about, keeping my string intact for 2 straight appearances, on 1 minute fishing and catching a fish. And then it's gotten so warm since then, I didn't want to take the risk of going out there and punching through and dying prematurely, So I'm out here in the river.
Pat, this is like Major League Baseball. If you're batting 500, you're ahead of the game, so don't worry about that.
Well,
Those are Hall of Fame numbers.
Randall.
Yes, sir.
All right, Pat, so what are we fishing for
Okay.
today?
Well, the goal was to come out here. I'm a little bit early for the river, but usually this is a good section of river I'm on for perch when they start spawning in usually mid to late March. they'll be pretty thick in this river, the Chippewa River that I'm on. And also, you'll catch walleyes in here, and some guys. It's really a good fishery for smallmouth bass. But I primarily come here for perch and walleyes. So I'm trying it, and I have some guys down the river from me a little ways. They pulled a couple of fish in, but I can't quite figure out what they're fishing for.
And it looks like you're jigging this afternoon, correct?
I've got I got one line. This is Wisconsin, so everyone who's gonna play the game warden on me is you can use 3 lines in Wisconsin. So I got one out with a crappie minnow, birch minnow on. I got one with a bigger walleye shiner on, and I'm casting a little crankbait, a little Rapala. So that's what I figured I'd use for my 1 minute attempt here.
Okay, everything but the kitchen sink Pat is using today. All right,
That's
Pat,
right.
your 1 minute of fishing starts as soon as you make that first cast.
All right, here we go. I'm casting out into the stronger current and bringing it back along the little where it's a little more protected water.
Okay.
And this particular X-Wrap, I think it is, I give it a little twitch every now and then. And I've caught everything from big crappies to big perch on, but mainly walleyes.
Well, you are 25 seconds into your 1 minute. Is this the same rod that you used in Idaho to be the first successful angler of 1 minute fishing?
Right, it is. And that's why it's in my hand right now.
Okay, you got 20 seconds to go, Pat.
Got some good mojo with that rod.
Oh, the suspense is killing me.
I know. We had great video with Pat right before he started. He cast, and now it's a little spotty.
Is it really? It's gotten bad.
5 seconds, Pat.
Okay.
Crank it.
Well, it did
That'll
not
do it.
happen today
Shoot.
for Pat. But you know what they say, Pat? A bad day of fishing is better than a good day of being a freelance writer in Wisconsin. Isn't that right?
Well, that's my purpose, though. I heard this morning, Spencer, that I'm almost I'll be 70 years old in January, and I heard this morning that Andy Rooney, the great 60 Minutes commentator and journalist, he lived into his late 80s, early 90s, and he lost his job, and a week later he died. So he basically lost his purpose, and he was gone. So I figured I better keep working a while.
Yeah, don't quit writing.
Keep those
Pat.
fingers spry, Pat.
Right.
A
Thanks,
beautiful
guys.
boat, though, that he's sitting in. I think we'll see that boat again on 1 minute fishing. Thanks for joining us, Pat.
bet.
Have a
Good
good
to see
day.
you, Pat. Thank you.
Good talking
Take care,
to you guys.
Pat. Sounded like he needed that Goosinator back there.
Yes,
Fish
yeah.
don't like waterfowl over the top of them.
Yeah,
so let's
Geese
blame
are
the
moving
geese.
today, boys.
We have our third guest coming up later. He's going to talk to us about some rare guns from the Rock Island auction. If we hear geese in his background, we really got problems at that point.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
All right, Phil, let's take a break for some listener feedback. What's the chat have to say?
Yeah, just a reminder, if you guys have questions for the crew, go ahead and submit them now. We'll hit them in the next few minutes and at the very end of the show. So anything for Cory, Randall, or Spencer. But first off, some behind-the-scenes questions from Brady. He asks, was the trivia tournament actually filmed in multiple segments or in one sitting?
So the trivia tournament, it was 3 episodes. We filmed 2 of those episodes in one day, back to back. So we knocked those episodes out in about a 2-hour window. And then 1 week later, we filmed episode 3. So there you go, Brady. That's your behind-the-scenes look. We tried to record it in 2024 because it's the 2024 championship, but Steve's schedule with filming his History Channel show just didn't really allow that, so we had to wait until now. And then I think this summer we're going to have a jabroni tournament coming for all those folks who didn't qualify for the big leagues.
And I would like to apologize. I saw someone in the chat hadn't listened to the final episode yet. So
yeah, well.
we should have maybe added a spoiler alert. Although if you were paying attention to the scoreboard at the end of episode 2.
Yeah.
Let's say this. There is something fun that happens in that episode anyway, so you should go listen to it.
Yes.
We have some very competitive scores that happened. What else you got, Phil?
Well, on that note, we're getting a lot of requests for a honkin' for a bonkin randomal T-shirt. Our two most requested T-shirts recently. So I don't know
my
how
face on the goose though.
Your face on a goose. Maybe being chased by a Goosinator as well. Why not
broken toe?
Throw it all in the kitchen sink.
Explain my origin story will be captured in the art. I like it.
That reminds me, Lane. We had somebody write into MeatEater Trivia saying that they and their buddy have a competition, and the loser of their year-long tournament of MeatEater Trivia has to get a tattoo of our choosing. I think we offered a few suggestions, and then a lot of people wrote in afterwards saying we missed the obvious one of getting the tattoo of honkin' for a bonkin' that appeared on a previous episode of MeatEater Radio for a tattoo that someone ended up regretting, but I think they gave that person words of encouragement. They should not regret.
I hope they no longer regret that tattoo.
It's a good tattoo. So if that person is listening right now who lost their trivia championship with their buddy, they ought to get the honkin' for a bonkin' goose tattoo.
To piggyback on some more trivia stuff, John has a comment. He says, in regards to the Dermeftid incident, I think incorrectly spelled answers in trivia should only be counted as correct if they can be reasonably pronounced correctly. And I agree with John, which is why I was against Steve getting
the point.
That point.
Yeah. John articulated it rather clearly here. In the back of my mind, I had some sort of animal instinct to reject Steve's answer, but John really hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Here's the deal, John. It's very hard for 7 people to argue with their boss about who's right and who's wrong. So sometimes we just lose that argument in that case, and that means that in other cases, Randall doesn't get credit for putting Crystalis instead of Chrysalis. Even though, the logic should have been applied there as well. So sorry, apologize to you, Randall, for months ago when you gave that answer. And
did you go back and look at whether that would have affected the outcome of the game? No. I believe I would have tied it.
I don't think I'm going to. Anything else, Phil?
Aaron, we got turkey season coming up. Aaron says, I turkey hunt solo a lot. How do y'all usually spend the back half of your day in a hunt till noon state?
Well, Aaron, my great flaw with turkey hunting and with shed hunting is that it always devolves into 2 other things, and that is mushroom hunting or rock hunting. So, Aaron, keep your eyes on the ground. Look for cool rocks. Look for mushrooms that are. If you're in a hunt till noon state, I feel like those are mostly in the South. Is it like Kentucky or Tennessee? Someone will write in, I'm sure. You've probably got mushrooms popping up here very soon. So get yourself educated on what edible mushrooms you can eat, and then go look for those things. How about you boys? Any suggestions for what Aaron should do after the turkey hunting season ends for him at noon o'clock each day?
Man, around here we're hunting turkeys from sun up till sundown. So I'm trying to put myself in your shoes. I'd probably go fishing.
Or if you're in a state that has an open black bear season, you can cruise the roads, do a little glassing up high, look for a bruin.
Or take a nap.
Take
a nice
read a
spring
good book.
afternoon nap.
Yep. Naps are good.
Lance suggested putting a GoPro on the Goosinator.
Yes.
That's a great idea. And also our guy Mogor, apparently daylight savings works differently in Hungary. He missed the beginning of the show, but we're glad you're here, Mogor.
Oh, no.
I was honestly when the timer was happening, I was looking in the chat because usually our guy is in there saying hi, and he wasn't in there, and I'm glad to see that he didn't miss the show.
I hope I didn't screw up my Hungary time last week when I announced it. That would be embarrassing.
Mogor, you're going to have to go back and listen because we talked about you again this week and how Randall's shout out to your time zone is going to inspire a new little bit, for me at least. I don't know about the other hosts.
We'll do one more fluffy one, but we'll hit more of these at the end of the show, so keep the questions coming in. Question for Phil, what are the odds you implement your harmonica into one of the jingles? Pretty low because the jingles are usually just, rip-off parodies of pop songs and stuff. But I did play harmonica for the theme song I wrote for the MeatEater Kids podcast. So if you want some more harmonica action,
you need to just do like some Piano Man that has a strong harmonica in it. Anything with Blues Travelers has a lot of harmonica.
Oh, yeah, I'm just as good as that guy, too.
John Popper?
John Popper. He's got his bandoliers of harmonica.
The hook always brings me back.
I'm with you. I think Gen Z just discovered the Blues Travelers.
Is that a thing? Like, is he big on TikTok now or something?
I got to say, it's just Blues Traveler.
Yeah,
Blues.
singular.
Okay, sorry, Blues Traveler.
Well, there's more than one of them.
So anyway, Gen Z has just discovered them. The specific clip of him doing the harmonica solo in Hook, that is quite popular right now.
Wow.
People are thrilled.
That's
that
great.
That exists.
Good for him.
All right, moving on. Our next segment is The Price is Right.
Let's move over to my thing here. Sorry, Spencer. Hey, here it comes from Bozeman, Montana. MeatEater Radio's most exciting 10 minutes. It's The Price is Right.
Yes, wow. All right.
Cory Calkins, come on down.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Randall Williams, come on down.
Ooh,
You're the next two contestants on MeatEater Radio's The Price is Right. Now, here's your host, Spencer Neuharth.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. Cory's third appearance on The Price is Right, and Randall's first appearance here. All right, this game is really simple. Phil is going to tell you about a product from the MeatEater universe, and you need to guess its price. The player with the closest answer without going over will be declared the winner. If both players go over, then you'll both be told to try again. And the chat should play along as well, because whoever has the closest answer will get a shout out from Phil. All right, there are 3 products for today's show. Phil, tell us about the first item up for bid.
How about we start today's show by giving you your very own Big Buck Hunter Reloaded arcade game? Do you want to live like a bachelor? Do you love slugging beers and shooting deers? Is your name Randall Williams?
Yes.
Well, we've got just the thing for you. The Big Buck Hunter Reloaded arcade game comes with a 42-inch monitor and 2 toy rifles. And if you get tired of gunning down booner whitetails, just turn on one of the other 7 thrilling games, such as The Walking Dead, Duck Dynasty, or Terminator Salvation.
There's also 33 mini games and 11 huntable animals, including a zombie deer mission called Doe of the Dead. All right, Randall and Cory, what does that bar-worthy arcade game cost?
Man. Sorry, is this used or is this new?
This is brand new. I'm not going to tell you the website, but this is a brand new Big Buck Hunter Reloaded arcade game. Phil is showing us a few screenshots from the game, as well as that arcade game itself.
Without going over, Randall.
Phil, describe the graphics you're looking at here.
Oh, sure, yeah. For the audio listeners, we've got some deer with some real thick antlers frolicking around a farmhouse here, but they are completely eaten up by some sort of zombie parasite. They've got some green slime all over their rib cage. Their jaws are torn apart.
Yeah.
Picture a zombie deer. That's what we're looking at here. So that's
Phil,
one of the.
Why are arcade game graphics always like 15 years behind the rest of video game graphics? If you showed me this screenshot, which you can see on our YouTube channel, I'd be like, yeah, that's from 2004.
Well, arcade games they're in a cabinet that is hot. It needs to be running, not 24/7, but in some cases, 24/7. So they can't use too intensive CPUs or graphics cards they're a little bit behind the times, but that keeps them running for longer.
Sure. So a 42-inch monitor. It has 2 rifles, 7 thrilling games, 33 mini games, 11 huntable animals.
Man.
This isn't your dad's Big Buck Hunter arcade game.
God, I want one so bad in my house.
Yeah.
So
Well, they make a mini one now, which is what I
do.
Yeah, so you can.
Isn't that.
My buddy's got one in his basement. That one is actually quite affordable.
Okay. This one, though.
But it doesn't shoot like the real thing.
Yeah, this is one you'd see in your favorite bar.
Sydney and I used to go play Buck Hunter on our anniversary every year.
Wow, and you quit doing that?
They sold that Buck Hunter machine.
Okay, I bet we could find another one.
We used to go to the bar where we met in Missoula and play it.
Wow.
There's also a great Buck Hunter machine. There used to be one at the cannery. There's a great one at a laundromat in Whitefish.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to play that when we were up in Whitefish. Oh. It's really part of our journey.
Okay.
My wife and I. It's part of our story.
Great.
So.
Do both of you have an answer for
I do.
the price of the Big Buck Hunter Reloaded arcade game? Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Randall saying
coward
$5,699.99, and we have Cory going low. He says $601.
I hate the player, not the game.
Coward.
The correct answer is $6,495, giving Randall the first point. He was only $900 off the correct answer.
We had Big Doe in the chat who guessed 6,400.
Wow.
Which is very close.
Hell yeah, Big Doe.
Golly, I'm
Nicely
terrible
done.
at this.
Now, the mini one that Randall is saying his buddy has, that one's like $600.
Maybe,
so you were right on.
It's more than I thought.
And they sell that one at like Best Buy,
Yeah.
Walmart, Amazon.
It's still fun.
Yeah. But this was the real deal.
Way off.
All right, Phil, tell us about the second item up for bid.
Well, if you like shooting thousands of virtual deer, then you'd probably love an autographed copy of Ted Nugent's book, God, Guns, and Rock and Roll. Ooh. The Whack Master himself signed hundreds of items that he's selling on his website. Besides his memoir, there's also autographed cookbooks, posters, and hats, including a chic camo cap that says, "Elect that mother effer again." Ted calls it the Super Gonzo. Ted calls it, quote, because that's important, the Super Gonzo Mojo Voodoo America Freedom Battle Cry hat of all time. But hey, feel free to choose your own nonsensical string of nouns, verbs, and adjectives.
Well, I know what I'm getting Phil for Christmas this year.
Yeah.
All right, Randall and Cory, what does that autographed book from Terrible Ted cost? This is straight from his website. He has, I think, 4 books for sale that have his name on them.
Yeah, that's the only one I've read.
No, you're kidding.
I read that. Yeah, I read that in high school.
You did?
Yeah.
You made it one of the New York Times bestsellers, which it has that stamp on
I
there.
think it was long out by the time I read it.
Give us a review of God, Guns, and Rock and Roll.
I don't remember much about it, I'll be honest with you. But I did own that. I remember sitting that on that's sitting on my bookshelf.
It's a pretty book. Pretty looking book. And he sells hundreds of things on his website that are autographed by him.
Yeah, my gut tells me that he values his own signature rather highly.
I know, that's what I'm worried about too.
But it's also a book.
It is a book, but it's signed by the Whack Master himself.
Can we get a pub date on that, Phil?
Great.
Unfortunately, I don't have that in my script, but maybe Spencer could.
We could look that up.
Yeah. Sure.
Now,
sorry, you're juggling too many things.
Back to item 1, though, the $6,495. That was from hangouthaven.com. And if you want to make it online compatible, you'll need to fork over another $40 per month.
Yeah,
so
I figured
you can
there's
play
a
people across the globe.
Oh.
In Big Buck Hunter.
Wow.
But we're on item
looks like we've got August 14th, 2001 for that publication.
Yeah, so I could have read that in high school. Maybe I was one of the individuals that put it on the bestseller
I'm
list.
surprised to hear that. That book looks like a post 9/11 book, not a pre 9/11
I know, he was ahead of the time.
He was 3 weeks.
I don't think Ted's changed his tune much. Well, I guess since he dodged the draft by shitting his pants, but
all right, you boys got an answer for the cost of that autographed book?
I don't remember.
Yes,
I think that's true.
He said that in an interview and then later denied it, I think.
So who knows?
You boys ready?
Yep.
Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Randall saying $79.99.
Going big.
We have Cory saying $49.99. The correct answer is lower than both of those.
Ted.
So you will try again. Write down a new answer. What was yours, Cory? $49.99. $50. How's the chat doing, Phil? Is anybody over there?
I don't want to give too much away, but we've had a lot of people get it right on the money. So I'm sure there were some good guesses and some cheaters in there. But
all right,
man.
Randall and Cory, it's
I wouldn't accuse
lower
the people of cheating,
than
Phil.
I have no problem accusing them of cheating.
Be careful here. I know.
Both of you have an answer.
Yep.
Go ahead and reveal your answers. We've got Cory saying $34.99.
Oh boy.
Randall saying $27.99.
Come on, Uncle Ted.
The correct answer is $29.99, giving Randall the victory and the second point of the game. And that is $20 cheaper than his autographed hat that says American Shit Kicker on it. So, if you're looking to get Pat Durkin his 70th birthday present for about $50, you can get him 2 autographed pieces of Ted Nugent merch. Phil, tell us about the folks who got it right on the nose.
I'm putting them up all on the screen here because there's a lot of
Mark
them.
Hodges, hello.
Get them all there. So we had 5 or 6 people get it right on the money there.
Good on you guys. All right, Phil, tell us about the third item up for bid today.
Oh, sure. Let me just bring it up here and do that, and then I gotta go back over here. Do you like it when I narrate all the things I'm doing? I'm just trying to fill silence.
Let me guess what we're talking about here. It's a
yeah. Actually, Randall, how about you guess, and then I'll read the description.
It's a 4x6 Harbor Freight tarp.
Our final item up for bid today is a taxidermied whitetail doe from Craigslist.
Oh, really?
This full-body mount portrays a dead deer lying on its side. It doesn't sound too interesting. Well, you'd be wrong. The New York City seller said the whitetail was used as a movie prop. When Spencer reached out to ask what movie, the Craigslister wouldn't say, but did reveal that the film will come out later this year and stars an Oscar-winning actress. Could it be Jurassic Park?
Yep.
Maybe Avatar or The Conjuring? Or it might be the 7th film in the Predator franchise. I guess we'll never know.
That's right, Phil. Even when I begged the seller to tell me and added pretty please to my email, they held firm and said legally they couldn't leak the title of the film. All right, Randall and Cory, what does that full-body white-tailed doe mount cost? Beautifully done piece of taxidermy.
Very realistic, man.
It's a white-tailed doe
Look how
who looks
bloated.
like she's in her early summer coat. And then I think the bloat that you're seeing there are her udders.
Yeah,
this would be a deer that died like right in the middle of May while she had a little fawn under her belly.
Or it's been sitting on the side of the road for 24 hours.
That's right. So what does that piece of
Boy, this could be
taxidermy
anything.
cost?
Interesting. Golly, I can't go out 0 to 3 here.
It looked so good on the tarp.
I know.
But
I was hoping
that
it was
is
the tarp.
convincing.
I know
Now,
how much the tarp cost.
I need our listeners to watch every film that comes out this year that is starring an Oscar-winning actress so we can figure out where this taxidermy doe is from.
If it's in the new Jurassic Park film,
So
it'll be co-starring with some FHF gear.
That's right.
right.
ScarJo, she has an Oscar, so I thought it could be that. But when I watched the trailer, it looks like it's taking place on a tropical island.
I don't think
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson has an Oscar. She's been nominated multiple times. She's never won.
Okay, now we got it. Well, if that's not the case, then we can eliminate
But
Jurassic Park.
Mahershala Ali, I think, is in that movie. He does have an Oscar, but he is a man.
Actress, yes.
Yes.
Oscar-winning actress. Do both of you have an answer for what that taxidermied dead deer costs?
I do.
yeah, let's roll.
Go ahead and reveal your answers. We have Cory saying
Coward.
$301. Randall saying
Oh my God.
$2,499.99.
Piece of Hollywood history to be.
Yeah, but they're just trying to get rid of that thing.
The correct answer is $4,500. And they said if I pick it up by Sunday, they'll give me a discount. So
Wow.
maybe you could make
Road trip.
$2,500. Well, I'm going to be in New York City next week. I could genuinely bring this thing home if we can solve where this movie comes from.
Yeah, you got $4,000 burning a hole in your pocket?
I do not, but maybe this company whose airwaves we're on does.
Offer them $301, see what they say.
Randall, a dominant victory coming off being the 2024 MeatEater Trivia Champion.
That's what we do.
Now defending his title as the
That
Price
one
is
goes
Right
out to
winner.
all the randomals in the chat.
We had Kevin guess
I see you.
$8.99, but also, I don't know what it says about me that I don't trust anyone who gets it right on the money, but especially with something like this. But Lance guessed $9.50. Lance, if you are true to your word, then I apologize.
$4,500 though. Those were the closest we had.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking.
We're live, folks.
That's okay.
I'm looking at last episode's price of a taxidermied, the camouflage. I'm looking at the wrong price,
That's
Spencer.
okay. $4,500.
$4,500.
If you were close in the chat, good on you.
Big Doe put a winky face. So
Wow.
we know what he's about, but he got it right on the money.
Okay,
Big
Doe.
Doge.
Dirty dog.
So if you live in New York City, that taxidermy doe could be yours. And like
Maybe
Randall said, it's a piece of Hollywood history.
Maybe it's Big Doe pushing his own product in the chat.
He just flat out said it. See, this is what I'm talking about here.
Well, I'll know who to watch next time when we're playing.
Randall, now the champion
Yeah.
of Price is Right and MeatEater Trivia. All right, let's move on to our last interview for the day. Joining us on the line next is Joel Kolander from Rock Island Auction, and he's here to show us some legendary guns that are coming up for sale. Joel, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, afternoon. Always a pleasure. Good to be back.
All right, Joel, he's a recurring guest, but real quick, remind folks of what Rock Island Auction is.
Sure. We're the number one auction house in the world for fine and historic collector firearms. Of course, we're known for 6- and 7-figure firearms. Those are the ones that catch the headlines, but absolutely catering to collectors, users of all budgets, all levels of expertise, everything. If there's something you're looking for, it's not a question of if we'll get it. It's usually just when.
Now, before we get to today's guns, I want to ask you some questions about Rock Island. What's the oldest gun you've ever sold?
The oldest that I've seen since I've been here, and that's just about 12 years, are actual hand cannons. So before there's triggers and firing mechanisms, you literally have a cannon you hold in your hand with a touch hole. and you're firing it off. And those.
So how old are we talking?
1400s and earlier. Gunpowder dating back to what some people the earliest between like 11th century at the earliest. So in between that area, and there's a lot of of course development in that time.
Mm-hmm. And what part of the world would that gun come from?
Asia, Japan, China. Of course, gunpowder developing in China. So a lot of that section of the world will have that. The earliest gun that we've sold of significance comes from about 1610, 1620. So you're looking right around the time the King James Bible was introduced, and that was a wheel lock that belonged to Louis the 13th.
Now, what's the most famous gun that you've ever sold?
Oh, well, we brought it up in the last interview. I'd have to say it's that Blastech DL-44 blaster. It was a Han Solo's blaster from Star Wars Episode 4. It was one of 3 ever made, and it came to us, from the owner of Bapting Company, from the actual prop house. Had documentation from the armorer of the film. So that one got some international press. Also went for over $1 million. Set a Guinness World Record actually for that. Wow. So that was definitely the most famous one.
Now, I just finished reading a book about art thieves, and a lot of these crimes happen at auction houses. Have you guys ever dealt with any kind of an attempted heist?
Thankfully, no. We have had no problems with heists. We take security pretty seriously at our locations, though. We have had guns that have been involved in heists. We've had a revolver that actually a Colt. It was a fit special, not a factory fit special, but one that he had modified from Clyde Barrow, from the Barrow Gang, Bonnie and Clyde. We've had a public enemy #1 who was that Floyd Hamilton. He was a part of their gang. He helped in the big bust when they broke 4 people out of jail. And
Pretty Boy Floyd.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a different way. But Floyd Hamilton's part of that Barrow gang. We have had a gun tied to Pretty Boy Floyd in a separate Tommy gun related story. But the big one that I like is Bob Dalton, leader of the Dalton gang, and of course leads the failed Coffeyville raid. But before the raid, they ordered 10 Colts, fancy Colts, pearl handled, engraved, case hardened, like beautiful guns, and they ordered these 10 guns for the gang to do this, double bank robbery in one day, and we had the privilege of selling one of those.
Classy.
Amazing. All right, now the guns we're about to see will be available at the Rock Island auction happening May 2nd through May 4th. All right, Joel, what do you have to show us?
Well, first and foremost, brought something for the mountain men, something for the long hunters. This would be a Hawken rifle. Now, a lot of them, it's quintessential American frontier sort of rifle. A lot of them get the name of Hawken rifle. This one is actually made by Hawken. So you have Jacob and Samuel Hawken. They begin producing guns around 1815. We know this one dates from about the 1850s because Jacob dies. But Samuel keeps making guns, and it's marked with his store that they founded in St. Louis, but it just has his name. So just a quintessential piece of America. This one's the full stock. A lot of times the half stocks were more popular despite being more expensive to produce because they were a little more labor intensive. So you don't see the full stocks as often, but boy, just what a piece from that, from the mountain men era, from this fur trading era, whether you're a pioneer, explorer, etc. Thought that might ring over well with some of the fellers.
Yeah. What do you think that gun is going to sell for?
Well, we have an estimate, I believe, on a genuine Hawken, $65,000 to $95,000.
Wow.
Okay.
What's
Randall,
the bore on that?
Interested in that price?
Yeah. What's the bore on that?
Well, sorry, apologies to Jeremiah Johnson. This one's 54 caliber.
Yeah. I was gonna say I know a guy who might be interested.
Now, Randall, did that gun show up a lot in your coverage of mountain men?
Yeah, I mean the Hawken is the gun that's most commonly associated with that era, and it's obvious. It's like probably the most iconic firearm since the Kentucky long rifle. What's interesting in our research is that there's a few like very high profile individuals that had genuine Hawkens, but
such as
Jim Bridger. What's his name?
Hugh Glass, Kit Carson, famously, of course.
Yep. But a lot of your sort of day-to-day boots on the ground mountain men were getting by with cheaper guns, But the Hawken is like the legendary piece from that time.
All right, Joel, what gun do you have next for us?
Well, I know it's been something for the buffalo hunters in the group. I had a Sharps last time. This one's got a couple special different tweaks to it. It's a Sharps model 1874 business model. This one ships actually in 1878. So that prime, like huge commercial bison hunting era, out there in Montana and big sky country or territory, I guess I should say. This is one of very few shipped to actually the president of Sharps at the time. So it's a rare gun. There's of the business models is like 1,600 made, so it's a classic gun, definitely associated with the bison hunting at the time and the commercial hunting. Rare one because of that. Shipped to the president of the company, but more than that, this gun has won some awards because of the accessories that it comes with. It has maintained all these years not just as kind of a rare and desirable firearm, but it comes with the full sort of buffalo hunting kit. That rifle is cased in a case entirely coated with bison fur. It comes with the full skinning kit from the field.
Oh, wow.
In bison fur, and just like not every shape, every size. There's things in here that, I think look like they're going to be for woodworking. This was one, but it's for pan and hide. Making sure these things can get
draw knife
and back to market.
Now, what makes that the business model, and what sets it apart from just a regular one of those?
Caliber configuration is so they're set with I think it's a 28-inch barrel, round barrel, although there are a lot of varieties seen during that time. They're also produced during a pretty narrow window. So it's I don't want to say it's a collector designation because it was absolutely an original designation from Sharps for how they chose to sell it. But basically configuration, again, aimed at sort of that big market you see where people wanted accurate guns, reliable guns that could put a lot of firepower on big animals like an American bison.
And what do you think that gun is going to sell for?
I have to write them all down. That one we have estimated actually with all those like original period accessories, $15,000 to $25,000.
Okay.
Wow.
So rare parts with some extra goodies.
No, I hate to repeat my question from earlier. What's that one chambered in? Is that a 50? Is that the big 50? Oh, it's a 4570. Gotcha.
Yep, pretty
very cool.
Classic. Yep. And again, shipped in 1878, so it's right in that window.
Now, are you working on the Buffalo Hide Hunters book right now? Is this gun very famous in your research?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Sharps. Again, like the Sharps, if you associate one firearm with that era and that particular hunt, it's the Sharps. And legendary for shooting animals at distance and putting a big wallop on them.
Okay. And what is the third gun you have with you today, Joel?
Well, third one is actually one that's going to kind of one of the headliners of the auction. This is a Winchester model 1873, one of 1,000.
Look at that.
It was actually one of 3 made for the film Winchester 73, starring Jimmy Stewart.
That gun is a piece of art he is holding. Now, how old is this gun, and what do you think that'll sell for? Is it from 1873?
Nope. So that's just a model designation. There were some original 1 of 1,000s made, like mostly from 1875 to 1893. This one was manufactured by the company some years later, specifically to be prop for the movie. It's an original manufacturer, although right at the turn of the century. That said, it is because of its significance to gun collecting. The movie, the campaign, the gun itself, changes fine arms collecting in the United States forever. It's not like the sole catalyst for it, but to say it's not a major player would be a mistake. Let's see, what is the estimate on that? It's about $175,000 to $325,000.
Wow.
So it's priced up there right with original rare 1 of 1,000 Winchesters, like these holy grails, these crown jewels of fine arms collecting. And here you have the one that's on screen. You can look at the buttstock. There's the plaque on the buttstock that starts the whole movie. And actually, this is that rifle. There's, we have plenty of paperwork coming with this to show that when that movie opens, this is the rifle that you see.
Beautiful.
That's amazing. Now, I'm not a I'm not a huge lever gun guy. I sort of know the origin story and the early models, and then I'm familiar with what's available to the shooter today. But could you tell us a little bit about where the 73 fits in with sort of the development of that technology?
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, you have a lot of lever actions dating to the mid-19th century. Of course, the most famous one, as the patents are bought up, is the Henry rifle. That's pre-Winchester. That's New Haven Arms during the Civil War era, 1860 to 65. Winchester, of course, buys these patents. A little bit of a drama there with Benjamin Tyler Henry. Starts his own company, Winchester. Oliver Winchester, a shirt maker from New York, comes out with the Winchester 66. Using a lot of those Benjamin Tyler Henry patents. His next rifle that he makes is the model 1873.
And what do you mean, Joel, by what do you mean when you say this gun changed gun collecting?
So the movie, I mean, they're famous for being the rare guns, these holy grails. There's only, of the original Winchester 11000s, there's like 132 ever made. And of course, just under half of those are known to exist today. They're extremely rare deluxe guns made for a narrow window of time. People love these. With the move, and they're kind of forgotten about. There's a period of time in the 20s, even into the 40s, where there's some curiosity about them by people who know fine and collector firearms, but they're not the famous guns that we know today. Well, the movie comes out in 1950, and when the movie comes out, there's a huge publicity campaign, and this is done kind of headed by Steve Depperman, who runs an agency in New York, and he's a name collectors should know because his campaign is looking for the original Winchester 11000s. They launched this huge campaign, tens of thousands of posters, not even domestically, but also internationally. They're in gun stores, they're in Winchester dealerships looking for Winchester 11000 rifles, and they don't want them. They're not taking them. They're like, we're just trying to document them all. And if you have one, if you have a Winchester 1873 11000, we'll send you a Winchester 1894 deer rifle, brand new. And a lot of people are submitting these. But what it really did, how it changed gun collecting, is it's introducing people to the concept of rare and desirable firearms.
Gotcha.
That those firearms are worth money, that those are valuable. It's teaching them how to identify them. And it's got them, like, people actively searching for them. Like, it's 4 quintessential gun collector behaviors, and it's just launching this on a fairly unprecedented scale. And then we call the 50s sort of this golden age of gun collecting or of fine arms collecting. And it's largely due to, in part, this massive influx of people who are now looking for rare, desirable guns, of course, starting with the Winchester 1873 11000s, but eventually, Colt single action armies are being collected, Civil War arms, Revolutionary War arms. It's just, it's as varied, of course, as whatever people have an interest in.
And if Randall is interested in one of these guns, how does he make a bid?
We, of course, you call us. We'll have the catalog up probably early April or maybe late March here, the way we're moving, which is good news. You can hop on the line. There's all the pictures, the full descriptions, calibers, any other questions people might have. And it's as easy as clicking on the website. But of course, people want to come do it in person. These big auctions are premier auctions. They're live events. We built a new facility, just about a year and a half ago in Bedford, Texas, and it is absolutely outstanding. So if you come see them in person, put them in your hands before you place a bid, you can do that.
Yeah, don't try to make a heist because they're watching you closely. All right, we're going to check in with you later this year to see what other cool guns you have at the auction house. Already looking forward to that interview. Thanks for joining us, Joel.
Spencer, thanks very much. Have a real good one.
You too. All right, that brings us to the end of this week's show. Phil, let's get some final feedback from the chat.
Yeah, Steven asks, Spencer, any chance you'll be rock hounding on your trip to Lake Superior? I would love to see a collab with Agate Dad. I don't know who Agate Dad is, but I'm assuming you do, but I don't know if you do or not.
I do not know who Agate Dad is. I follow a handful of rock hounding influencers, most of them in the West. But yes, I do plan to rock hound on that trip. I'd love to find a superior agate. I have a few, but they're ones that I have traded for, so I don't have any that I have myself found, which makes them a little more special. So I'm going to attempt to find one on that trip. I also have my UV flashlight with me, and walking the shores of Lake Superior is a great place to bust one of those out to find some unique rocks. So I'm going to try to do it, Steven.
Right on. I want to give a shout out to Sarah who didn't cheat and was the closest for that deer prop. She guessed 2,500, which I think was the closest, even though I think the price was almost $5,000.
4,500.
4,500.
Wow. Good on you,
people.
Sarah.
People were really lowballing that one.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
You guys can get as deep into this as you want to, but Jax, he says, I was inspired to pursue a degree in range management by you all. Any words of encouragement or advice for someone looking into this career with the current political situation?
What do you got, Randall?
Man, I would just say keep the faith. You know, we're in a very strange moment right now. But there's always going to be need for people to watch out for our soils and our vegetation and all that habitat out there. And yeah, I don't know that I would make any rash decisions at the moment, as other rash decisions are being made by the powers that be. So keep the faith, Jack, and I appreciate your chosen career path there.
Hey, Jack, I went to school for biology, ecology, and evolution. I'm not using that degree today, and if you don't use your range management degree either, I don't think you would regret going to college for that. You'll be exposed to a lot of fun, interesting things that any outdoorsman would like to know. So good luck, Jack.
Well said.
Harrison asks, question for the crew. What do you think of Western states moving to having people purchase a tag to shed hunt, and should Montana follow suit? Thanks.
Well, Harrison, I would say I typically trust the folks making those decisions. If they think you need a tag to either track how many people are doing it or to limit the amount of folks that are like pushing around animals during a very vulnerable time, I'm okay with it. I also don't know those tag prices, but I assume it's less than $30. As outdoorsmen, we spend a lot of dumb money on a lot of dumb things. Mm-hmm. That $30 tag, which is probably on the expensive side of what these Western states are charging, is money well spent. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think it's an activity that, when done, I guess, carelessly, has a pretty significant impact on the resource, and I would support our wildlife managers having all the information that they can to sort of understand better what that impact is and what steps we can take to make it more wildlife friendly. Because again, deer and elk getting pushed around on winter range is a serious source of mortality.
And I think like shed hunting in the West is probably more popular now than it's ever been.
Yeah, and it's one of those things like, on a limited basis, it might not have a huge impact, but as it's grown in popularity, it certainly is making its impact on the resource.
Mm-hmm. Cory, when you were in your shed hunting heyday, would you scoff at a $30 license if you needed to buy one to do that?
No, I wouldn't. I'd pay that in a heartbeat. Just I think along the lines of what you mentioned, I think anything that becomes a little overcrowded or overpopular has to be regulated somehow. And
but I will say probably the worst offenders are the guys that are going to go out and not buy the tag.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, people are still
like the people that are kind of renegade shed hunters,
sure,
and like chasing down bulls and stuff. They're probably not going to follow the rules. So it's a double-edged sword. But I think always like supporting our agencies and providing them with information and data is a good thing.
Yeah, I don't think they're out to get you when they make you buy one of these licenses to go shed hunt. So I just trust that they're doing it for the good of the critters and the good of the resource.
Yeah, I don't think Montana's anywhere near having one, but I'm sure at some point it'll happen.
Phil, what else you got?
Well, let's do one more. This is probably the most important one. Kevin asks, what new hair product is Randall using?
I believe it's called Spit.
Yeah, a little water, a little comb. I did get I don't even know what you call it. It's like a little tub of stuff. I think it's made by Old Spice.
Oh.
But they have like 5 different words for things you put in your hair now. You know, there's gels, there's balms,
pomade,
there's
matte.
Yeah,
paste.
I don't know. I don't know.
Dapper Dan?
I had to do something. Because otherwise it's just, straight up.
Did we get an answer there as to what you're putting in your hair?
Old Spice.
Old Spice. Okay. There you go.
Nice.
All right, that brings us to the end of the show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here in a week.